Welcome or welcome back to A Better Choice Homestead, where on my channel I focus on food, growing it, preparing it, and preserving it. Today is Tuesday, so this is another edition of Tasty Tuesday, and I recently made an oat groat carrot risotto that was so delicious. I wanted to try something else. So I am gonna be using rice in this risotto, but I am gonna be using the forbidden black rice. So what I have done with this rice is, you're gonna have to excuse the sound back here. I've got my bread machine going. I've taken the rice and I have rinsed it very, very well under running water. And interestingly, the water that came off of the rice was purple. This is loaded with anthocyanins, so healthier for you in my opinion than white rice. And it has just a tad less naturally occurring arsenic in it than white rice does, but still important to rinse it. So I've rinsed it and I have dried it, and now we're gonna get ready to go. So I'm gonna be doing 1 cup of the black rice. I'm gonna do 1 small to medium onion diced. I have 3 cloves of garlic already minced. I've got 2 tablespoons of butter for the garlic and the onions. I have about 14 ounces of mixed mushrooms. This is a mix between your white button, your cremini, and the shiitake mushrooms. And I've just diced those down into small pieces because obviously the rice is gonna be fairly small. I want the mushroom pieces to be small as well. I've got 2 tablespoons of butter ready to saute those in. I've got 1 cup of a dry white wine. And for that, I'm just using a Pinot Grigio. I'm gonna be using 4 cups of homemade chicken broth, so 1 quart of that. I've got about 3/4 of a cup of the Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. I think I said that right. I always mess that one up. And it's the grated, not the shredded. And then I've just got some spices, so salt, pepper, and thyme. And with this, I am gonna be serving some seared scallops. They're gonna be absolutely phenomenal, especially paired with this deep, deep purple or black rice. So let's get going. All right, we're gonna start right here in this pot. I'm gonna add my 2 tablespoons of butter. And once this melts down completely, I'm going to be adding in the onions and the garlic. And these are fairly small dices of onion. I did these ahead of time because these onions are strong, and every time I cut into them, they make me cry. So I just thought I'll get all of the ingredients pre-cut. And there's our garlic. So we're just gonna stir this around. This is gonna cook for a few minutes. We're just looking for them to get softened and to become translucent. All right, now that I've mixed the butter around all of those, I'm just gonna add some of the seasonings here. I'm gonna do a pinch of some black pepper. A good pinch of some salt. And a good pinch of thyme. I think the thyme is gonna pair really well with the mushrooms in here. So I'm adding probably about a tablespoon. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and add my rice over here to this saucepan. I've got it turned on low, and I am just looking to get these started to toast up and to dry out. I did dry them off with a towel after rinsing them, but we do want them dry and we want them a little bit toasty. So just on low, we're gonna let those hang out while these finish cooking. This already smells fabulous. I love the aroma of thyme and onions and garlic. I'm gonna turn this up just a tad because I do have it on pretty low. All right, this is looking good. This is just about done. I'm gonna focus on the rice. All right, I can hear this. You can hear it just kind of start to crackle a little bit. So these are ready to go into the pan with the onions and the garlic. So and we're going to cook these in here dry just for a minute. Toasting them up just a little bit more, and my onions are turning purple. Can you see that? Can you see how the onions are turning purple? That is because of the anthocyanins in this rice. There are so many in here, loaded with them. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and add the 1 cup of the dry white wine. And I'm going to cook this until that wine till the alcohol is cooked off and the liquid has been absorbed by the rice. So this will take a few minutes. And then we're going to do the same thing throughout the cooking process here with the chicken broth, just adding a cup or so at a time until it is absorbed, and then we'll add more until it is absorbed, until we get through with the full quart of the chicken broth. So we're just gonna let that cook for a minute. And while that's cooking down the wine, I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of butter to this pan, and we're gonna cook the mushrooms. So again, these are mushrooms that I have just diced up small. This is 14 ounces because that's the size package they came in. You can use up to a pound, you can use less, but mushrooms are an incredible food to add regularly to your diet because of all the benefits that they bring to your brain health. And this liquid in here is just about absorbed. I know it's hard to see because it's so dark, but if I move the rice out of the way, there really isn't any liquid here on the bottom. So we're gonna start adding our chicken broth 1 cup at a time. And I'm gonna turn this down. Make sure that it's on low because we don't want it absorbing too quickly. This rice does need time to cook. And over here, I'm gonna get my mushrooms in the pan. And we're gonna cook these on low for quite a while the rice is cooking. We will add these into the rice towards the end. Make sure that that is on low, and we're just gonna let those go. All right, it has been 15 minutes and most of this liquid has been absorbed. And over here, our mushrooms are cooking just very, very slowly. I did add 2 more tablespoons of butter because mushrooms do act like sponges, and they just soaked up those 2 tablespoons like it was nothing. So added 2 more tablespoons over here. This is on a super low flame because we've still got some more time left on the rice. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some more of the chicken broth here, 1 cup at a time. And we'll talk just a little bit about the health benefits of what we're gonna be consuming this evening. All right, so the black rice, also known as forbidden rice, is really high in protein, in fiber, and in iron. It also contains a lot of antioxidants, including, like I've already mentioned, the anthocyanin plus 23 other antioxidant compounds, which are heavy on the flavonoid and carotenoid side. The anthocyanin is actually a pigment, so it's a color, but within that pigment, it offers really potent anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and anti-cancer effects. Overall, it's super good for your heart health, again, because of those antioxidants. It's also really good for your eye health because of the carotenoids. So this is a nice little addition to your diet if you like rice, and even if you don't, I would suggest giving it a try because this is a little different than your traditional white rice. It's milder, it is a little chewier, which is why I think it's going to make a really good risotto, and it has a nice nutty flavor as well. The mushrooms, they're a fat-free, low-sodium, cholesterol-free food. They are rich in selenium, which is an antioxidant, of course, that helps fight cancer. They're full of soluble fiber, beta-glucan, and both of those will improve your heart health and help by helping reduce your cholesterol levels. They also have a lot of vitamin Bs and specifically niacin, riboflavin, and pantothenic acid, which together they promote heart health. They also are a good source of copper, which helps produce red blood cells in your body. They also have potassium in them, which is great for heart, muscle, and nerve function. And mushrooms are also believed to have a really positive impact on your cognitive function. Most of that study has been done around lion's mane mushrooms, but I personally think mushrooms are wonderful. They're so delicious. They really take on the flavor of whatever it is you're cooking with them. And so if they're also going to be helping me reduce my risk of dementia and Alzheimer's, I am all for adding mushrooms whenever possible. As I mentioned, we're also going to be cooking some scallops tonight, and they are a very lean protein source for you. They're low in overall fat, but they do have a really good boost of omega-3s in them. That helps lower your LDL, which lowers your risk of heart disease. They also contain selenium, which supports your immune system and your thyroid function. They contain zinc, which is necessary for proper brain function, and then again, the copper, which protects against heart disease. They also have B12 in them, which is essential for good cognitive function as well. So this is a very brain healthy meal that we are cooking up tonight. All right, I am gonna go ahead and let this go. It's probably gonna be another 10 minutes before this is ready for another cup of the chicken broth. And over here, I'm gonna go ahead, I think I'll do it now. Let's get these seasoned. So I'm gonna add a little bit of pepper to these. Again, we're adding flavor in layers. So even though this is gonna go into the pot over here when we're about ready, we wanna make sure that every ingredient or every component has the flavor that we want running throughout. So a little salt as well. And then I am gonna add more thyme. I debated that, but, and I'm kind of making this recipe up as we go along. So I'm just doing it in my head here. I think that thyme with mushrooms is insanely delicious. So, and the last time I used thyme in the oat groat risotto, I didn't really taste a lot of thyme in the end result. So I want to make sure I've got some layers of flavors so that we can taste the thyme. So these are just gonna sit here on a very low flame until the rice is done, which is probably gonna be another 20 minutes is my guess. We We are at the 35-minute mark total cook time, or from the time I started, and this has absorbed the liquid in the pan. So we're gonna go ahead and add another cup of the chicken broth. Get that stirred in. And I've got one more cup to go. So this, this is gonna take probably another 25 minutes or so. I just tasted one of the grains of rice. They are definitely softening up, not quite done yet. And over here, the mushrooms have absorbed a lot of that butter, and they look and smell fantastic. These would be excellent in eggs or a breakfast burrito. They would be amazing on a baked potato or even topped over a mashed potato. These are truly delicious. I'm gonna go ahead and take a little taste here. They're phenomenal. But I'm gonna add just a little bit of white wine in here, just because I have the wine, and I think it's just gonna elevate that flavor. We still have a little bit of cook time left on the rice, so I wanna get some more moisture into this pan, and we're gonna do that with the Pinot Grigio. All right, we'll see you back here in about 15 minutes while we wait for this rice to absorb that broth. We are at the 44-minute mark, and most of the liquid in here has been absorbed, so I'm gonna add the last little bit of the chicken broth, and this is probably gonna take 10 more minutes. Let me give those a try. Yeah, they're almost done. So, oh, and they have a really good flavor. So this is definitely a little longer than making risotto with a white rice, but I think it's probably gonna be well worth it, especially with those mushrooms in here. Yum. These mushrooms would also be really good added to a stuffing for Thanksgiving if you like mushrooms. I do. I usually do a sauteed mushroom in my stuffing, and oh, this is just making me want Thanksgiving dinner, even though it is going to be soon. It can't be soon enough, in my opinion. So a few more minutes, and then we will finish off the risotto and get started on the scallops. All right, we are at the 50-minute mark now, and I'm going to go ahead and add the mushrooms into the pot. Get those stirred in. Oh, look at that. That looks amazing. Wow, that looks so good. And then we're gonna get that cheese. So this is about 2/3 of a cup of the Parmigiano Reggiano. Ooh, I said it right. Parmesan, never mind. Once is enough. We're gonna get this stirred in. Now, if you want a little creamier, you could add some heavy cream or some milk in here. I think I'm gonna let this go just as it is, and we're gonna get that turned off. And we're gonna get a lid on that and set it aside because it needs to rest for 5 minutes, which is about how long we will need to do the scallops. So I've got my cast iron skillet here on a very high heat. You want your pan when you're doing scallops to be screaming hot. Now, these scallops are fresh. The only thing I have done to them is I have rinsed them under cold water, and I cut off that little tiny piece of muscle that holds it to its shell, and then I dried them between 2 pieces of paper towels just to get them totally dry. And now I'm gonna season them with some salt and pepper. I am using kosher salt for this. I think that kosher salt really helps give a nice crust on protein. So this is 2 teaspoons of kosher salt and 1 teaspoon of black pepper. And I'm gonna season one side of these. and we're gonna get them into a pan once I get a little bit of avocado oil. I'm using avocado oil because it can handle the heat. And it's also gonna help get that golden crust on each side of the scallop. So I'm just gonna use a little pastry brush here to make sure that the oil is completely coating the bottom of the pan. How many scallops you use is totally up to you. They are expensive. I am doing 6. I think that 2 scallops per person, because these are the jumbo, is plenty, especially because the risotto is going to be so filling. And I chose to do scallops with this because with the forbidden black rice, I thought it would be a really nice contrast with the white scallops. So we're gonna get these in. Now these are going to cook pretty quick. You want to put them in seasoned side down, and you want to remember the order in which you laid them in the pan because you're going to flip them in the same order. Got a good sizzle going on there. And we're going to do 3 minutes. So I tend to do things clockwise, and that way I can remember in what order I need to flip them. There is our 3-minute timer, so I'm going to get these flipped. They look gorgeous. They have a nice sear on them. They look incredible. And now they need 2 minutes on this side, and that is it. Now, if you use smaller scallops, you're going to cook them for less time. These are the jumbo scallops. They're quite large, and they're thick. So again, if they're thinner or smaller, you're going to cook them for less time. If you overcook your scallops, they're going to be rubbery, and we don't want that. So we have almost a minute left. I can't wait. I'm getting hungry. These smell phenomenal. There's our timer. We can get them out of the pan. And I'm just going to set these aside for a minute. I have, in this ramekin here, I have 3 small cloves of garlic, thinly sliced, and 2 tablespoons of butter. We're going to get that going in the pan. I'm also going to add a little splash of that white wine vinegar, or not vinegar, white wine, dry white wine. Why not? Because I have it available. And I have 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the pan off at this point. And I have about a tablespoon of some fresh parsley. I'm going to add that in there. Now we are going to get this poured over the scallops. I'll let you see that up close. Look how incredible and delicious these look. And they smell amazing. All right, there's just a little bit of sauce that I made here in the pan. And we're just going to pour those right over the scallops. That looks incredible. Let's get everything plated up and give it a taste. All right, we're gonna start with the risotto. And I'm gonna just put a, oh man, this looks good. This looks so good. All right, I'm gonna do a couple scoops in the middle of my plate here. Wow, this looks amazing. Oh, I can smell those mushrooms in here. Smells divine. And I'm just gonna put a couple of scallops right over the top. and dinner is served. Let's give it a try. I am really excited about this. I love scallops. I love mushrooms. I love risotto. I have not had forbidden rice risotto or a black rice risotto before, so this is definitely something new and I'm super excited to give it a try. I'm gonna start with the rice because I always start with my veg, and the veg in here is the onions and the garlic, so let's give that a try. That did not disappoint. Wow. The flavors from the mushrooms are most prominent. I can taste the butter, the thyme, the white wine, even with the alcohol cooked off. This is absolutely decadent. So creamy, which is the flagship, right? The flagship of risotto. So incredibly creamy. The rice grains are tender, but not mushy. Wow. This is honestly something that you would pay a lot of money for in a high-end restaurant. This is incredible, you guys. This is absolutely incredible. Oh, I'm so glad I did this. Honestly, you know what it's making me think? It's making me think there's a tiny bit of sweetness, and I'm not exactly sure where that sweetness is coming from, but if that was enhanced even just a sliver more, this would be mind-blowing. So I think that maybe some super teeny diced carrots in with the mushrooms might take this over the top. It is amazing just the way it is, but since I kind of made this recipe up, I'm gonna be talking about it and processing it so I can make it better next time. All right, let's give some scallop a try. These look like they are cooked perfectly through. Totally cooked through. They do not look overcooked. Here we go. Oh my goodness. That butter lemon sauce over the top is incredible. And I was right, this pairing is beautiful. This is definitely worthy of a special occasion meal. It did take an hour to cook, but you're not standing over the stove the whole time. In between stirring the risotto and adding more liquid, you know, you've got between 10 and 15 minutes to do other things. I fed the dogs, I did some dishes, I started some laundry. So you're not slaving over a hot stove. You just need to be kind of diligent about making sure that you go back and you check and you stir. And when ready, you add some more liquid. Perfect. Highly, highly, highly give a recommendation to give this a try. If you're interested in giving any of my other recipes a try, go ahead and check out my Tasty Tuesday playlist. I have quite a few videos in there by now. If you have any suggestions on things that you would like me to whip up in the kitchen, even if it's new to me, I am pretty brave when it comes to trying new things, and I'd be more than happy to consider it. Thank you so much for joining me for another edition of Tasty Tuesday Forbidden Rice Risotto with seared scallops. My name is Kelly, you're at A Better Choice Homestead, and I do hope you come back and visit again soon.